In 2016. She likes playing golf and softball, and she likes talking to people like you, so please welcome, give her a warm welcome to Miss Bridget Laquette.
Thank you. All right, thank you guys so much for having me here today. I feel truly honored to be able to come here and share my story. I guess, he introduced me. I'm Bridget Laquette from Mallard, Manitoba, and Cody First Nation. I recognize from both simply because, they both communities kind of shaped me to who I am today and have helped me tremendously throughout my entire career and life. So, just for starters, growing up in such a small community, middle of nowhere, Manitoba, 4 hours north of Winnipeg, I say it's in the middle of nowhere because there's not even cell service there, so it's just like one dirt road to get in and like 80 people. And growing up, it was 80 people. Now there's probably like 40, all my uncles. And then, so other than that, I guess growing up there it meant that I had to, face a few obstacles to get to where I am today. So, for starters, I grew up with, eczema. I still have eczema, but I had it really bad when I was younger. So, I struggled, trying to, getting over that obstacle just because, growing up, I never really had friends. And, I was bullied and I was made fun of. And there's times where, I wanted to quit, school. I wanted to, because no one wanted to be my friend. I was always getting teased and, just because I was different. And, from there, learning that at a young age and, developing kind of, growing a thick skin, for bullies like that. And I guess just for my little note to the kids in the crowd, always be respectful, always be kind, just because, you never know what other people are going to go through and what they're going through in their life. So, that really, that taught me a lot, throughout my entire life and how to treat people, how to treat them better. And, from there, I guess, growing up, being bullied and, from there, I found my out through sports. And, growing up, I played softball in the summer and hockey in the winter. And, I played pretty much every sport. I was also a tomboy, so I always chased my dad to ball tournaments and hockey tournaments and all that. I was kind of his tail. So, so it was just something about hockey that kind of just made me feel like I could be myself. And that, it was kind of like I could be free, and I just had nothing else to think about when I was on the ice, and just to play hockey, and stick handle, and shoot, and I loved doing that. And it was kind of something that, it always, I always just wanted to be better, and there was always a time where, there was actually, when I first thought of, playing on the national women's team, I actually wanted to play in the NHL, and then realized couldn't do that, so the Olympics was the next best thing. So, from there, after kind of getting over the bullying and started, finding my way through hockey, I started to get better at hockey. So that meant I had to travel longer distances. So I had to travel, one of my very first times in Winnipeg is when I faced my second obstacle, which is, it was racism. And, one of the very first times I played in Winnipeg, I actually got into a shoving match with this girl in the corner, and she called me a dirty Indian. She said, get off me, a dirty Indian. And that was kind of something that really, that hurt, actually. It really hurt to hear that, and it kind of took me back a little bit. I kind of, I got angry, I got upset, and I got sad. I'm a crier, so I cried. And luckily I had my dad on the bench, and, he was kind of there to kind of give me, I guess, words of encouragement, kind of turn that negative into a positive. And he told me to beat them on the ice. Beat them on the ice, meaning, focus on yourself. Focus on being your best self, and being the best person you could possibly be, best player you could possibly be. So when they say things like that, to you, it won't affect you because, you're going to be winning in the long run. So, he was there, and I'm so thankful that he was to tell me that because, I would have quit. Honestly, without my dad, I would have just quit because I was so frustrated with, being called, all these names. And, throughout my entire hockey career, I've been called every name in the book. And, turning that into motivation, and I basically just did that, and I focused on myself, and I focused on being the best hockey player I could possibly be because I wanted to make these teams so bad. So from there, I've had my ups and downs through hockey, after getting over that obstacle, you know, I started to get invited to try out for Team Manitoba, and, you know, I got invited to play for the NHC team and with Team Manitoba. And actually, one of the very first times I tried out for Team Manitoba, I ended up getting cut. And that's another lesson that I learned, was that you can't show up to camp out of shape. And, you know, it was kind of something that, you know, I realized quickly that, you know, I can't just rely on my skill and my talent. I actually have to put the work in off the ice to be able to be successful. So, you know, from there, I ended up not getting selected. My sister's a goalie, so they ended up selecting her, and then I just, like, watched her go off. Like, I remember going with them to drop her off in Kitchener, or in Winnipeg, to fly to Kitchener for nationals that year. And I remember just feeling so sad and just, like, you know, just being, I guess, just kind of missing out on that opportunity. And, you know, I was not going to lie, I was kind of jealous that she was gone and I was still stuck in Mallard. So, yeah, from there, you know, I learned, you know, I didn't like that feeling of not making that team. So, you know, from there, I kind of, you know, I put the work in. You know, I did everything possible to be able to be successful, I guess. And, you know, I trained off the ice. I shot more pucks. You know, I stick handled the ball. You know, I went for runs. I hate running still to this day, but I still do it. And, you know, I need to do that, right? And, you know, I do things, you know, that I get to that point of, you know, being uncomfortable and, you know, being comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. You know, because I need to do these things to be able to be successful. And, you know, from there, you know, I learned to, you know, I came back to the camp. You know, I got invited back to Manitoba, and I tried out, and, you know, I came back more dominant, more faster, stronger, you know, just quicker and just overall better. And I ended up making the team, and then fast forward the year, and then the next year after that, I ended up winning a bunch of top defenseman awards, and, you know, making Team Canada and the U18 team, and I actually won a world championship with Team Canada in Chicago, and I ended up finishing the tournament with like 13 points in 6 games, and, you know, it was kind of unheard of because I was a defenseman also, so I was like, everything was going great for me. So, you know, from there, you know, it was kind of, I felt like I was, you know, on my way up, and I kind of, you know, obviously, you know, making the U18 team was great, making Team Canada was great, but, you know, I wasn't there yet because my ultimate goal was playing the Olympics. So, you know, from there, I ended up going to school at the University of Minnesota Duluth. I ended up playing, you know, NCAA Division I down there, and, you know, doing really well. So I ended up getting invited to try for the 2014 Olympic team. And again, learned another valuable lesson, you know, that I have to actually I have to kind of set my priorities straight. If I want to do something and if I want to be successful, I'm going to have to focus and put a lot of effort into it, and not just, you know, kind of, you know, put half effort here and half effort there. You know, there's something, you know, things that had to go on the back burner, kind of like my social life. And it was absolutely very important for me to you know, I learned that the hard way because I ended up getting cut from the team. And, you know, I learned that, you know, I had to put all of my effort and focus into hockey and school, and I had to put my social life on the back burner a little bit. So, you know, from there, you know, getting cut and being told no and being so close to my Olympic dream, like, it was actually very hard on me, and I actually, there was a point where I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit hockey because I didn't find it fun anymore. I didn't know what I wanted, and, you know, it took about 8 months to figure out that, you know, I actually, you know, I play this game because I love this game, and I had to kind of, you know, restart a little bit and find my love for the game. So, anyways, so I ended up going back to my senior year of college, and then, you know, basically, you know, put school first, and, you know, balance my school and my hockey, and then kind of found my love for the game again, and everything was going great. And I ended up actually, you know, making Team Canada the next year, representing Canada at the World Championships in Malmo, and then in Kamloops, and then, you know, actually, you know, kind of just getting everything in order. And then I ended up getting invited to try out for the Olympic team again. So it was kind of like my second chance. So, you know, from there, you know, actually this entire year has kind of been a roller coaster year just because, you know, it was kind of about a 6-month-long tryout. And, you know, there was times during the season where I thought, like, I was the most confident person on the team. And, you know, I was just like, I'm going to make this team. Like, I know because I had, like, such a great game. And I'd text my parents and I'd be like, I think I'm going to make this team. And then the next day I'd be like, oh man, like I don't think I'm going to make it just because, you know, I'm dwelling on my mistakes and stuff like that. So it's kind of a roller coaster for me. So I guess just leading up to, you know, when we found out, you know, it was very stressful times. It was kind of end of November, beginning of December type where we're constantly on the road. We were everywhere. We were San Jose, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Minneapolis. You know, we were down in Florida, and we were all over Alberta, and we were just constantly on the road. And, you know, just kind of, you know, going through that whole process of, you know, just kind of figuring out, like, I guess just how to balance my emotions, really. And, you know, it taught me a lot about myself to focus on the positives because, you know what, there was certain things where, you know, I brought offense to the team, so that's kind of what my strength was, and I had to focus on that. So, you know, leading up to the time we found out, it was just before Christmas, and we all had set times to meet with the coaches. And when I went in, I guess it was just like, I had a set time at like 10 a.m., and we got back from a road trip pretty late. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning from Edmonton. And I just remember like being so stressed. I was with my roommate, and we were both stressed because we had no idea if we were going to make the team or not. And we just like sat up giving each other pep talks. And then we ended up watching Christmas movies because we needed to distract ourselves. Like, it was stressful times. So anyways, ended up falling asleep. Woke up the next morning just kind of getting ready. I just remember like that morning just being so nervous, like trying not to think about it, but then I kept thinking of the worst, and it was just like kind of, you know, I was texting my parents being like, guys, like, I don't know, and then they would like send positive thoughts my way, and they're like, you got this, and then I'd shut them down, and it was just like, it was awful. So by the time I ended up going to the rink, I ended up getting to the rink 15 minutes early, and just sitting in my car and just like still trying to like breathe and just trying to like de-stress basically. And anyways, one of my teammates walks out. She ended up making the team, comes out, and she comes in, she's like, Bridge, like, you can probably go in because we're early. And I'm there, I'm just like, oh man, like, I'm not ready. So I was like, all right, fine. And then I walked into the rink, and the way it was set up is that we'd go through one way of the rink, meet with the coaches, and then exit out a different exit just so we won't cross paths with anyone. And so I ended up going in. And the girl, one of my teammates that was before me, she ended up walking out of her meeting. She's about 10 minutes early too, and she ended up, you know, obviously making the team, and she was like super pumped, waving at me at the end of the hallway, and I walk in there, I see her, and I'm just like this, no smile on my face. I couldn't express emotion. It was crazy. So I just, again, kept walking, and, you know, I ended up sitting on these 2 chairs just outside the office, and, you know, one of my other teammates walks in, and she's behind me. And, you know, actually before she walks in, I was also sitting there thinking of the worst. You know, still was kind of like looking at the time, checking my watch, checking my phone, and just like, what's taking them so long? And I was like, they're probably just thinking ways to cut me. Like, I was just thinking of everything, like everything possible. So anyways, and my teammate ends up walks in, kind of say hi to her, her eyes are just puffy, and she sits down beside me, and then she's like, oh man, like, I just splashed snow in my face because I was crying in the parking lot. And I kind of, it's hilarious now, but I kind of like gave her like, I couldn't really smile, I couldn't laugh, and I kind of gave her one of those cheap laughs, and I was just like, smiled at her, and that was it. And, you know, all I thought was, at least I'm not crying, I guess. I guess things could be worse. So anyways, we're sitting there, we hear the coaches come in, and we kind of give each other one of these like fist bumps, again, didn't say anything. And then the coach comes in, he's like super peppy, and he's just like, good morning, Bridget. And, you know, I'm kind of like, morning. Like, I was like, they tell me now that I look so pissed off, I just look so mad. And I was, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, so the coach comes in, I walk with the coach, and walk into the room, it's the general manager and the 3 coaches sitting on the other side of the table, and just an empty seat for me. Again, I walk in, didn't really smile or anything, sat down, probably 5 seconds into sitting down, the coach stands up and, you know, she says, congratulations, Bridget, on becoming an Olympian. And that was probably one of the best times of my life. And, you know, I was so relieved, and I was so relieved that I just like I had a big sigh, and I just put my hand on the table, and I just put my head down for like a couple seconds and almost cried. Didn't want to be the person to cry. But, you know, it was awesome. To be told that you know, you're going to go to the Olympics, and this, you know, I worked my entire life for this, 20 years of work that put into this to go to the Olympics. And it actually didn't become, you know, real to me that I was going to the Olympics until probably, you know, the opening ceremonies. And when they announced Canada, and, you know, we walked in as, you know, entire team with all the other sports, and the place erupted, and it was an amazing feeling. And, you know, I got the chills, and I was just super excited. I couldn't believe it that, you know, and I walked in, and I was like, I made it. Like, I'm here. It's crazy. And, you know, it was awesome. You know, as an overall, it's just an awesome experience. And I guess just with that, you know, just a little note for the kids in the crowd here that, you know, you can achieve anything that you put your mind to. And it doesn't matter where you come from because, you know, coming from a small, tiny community in middle of nowhere, Manitoba, like I think, you know, if I could do it, you guys can do it too. It takes, you know, a little perseverance, hard work, and determination. And, you know, you guys can achieve anything you want. So with that, thank you guys for having me here today.
That's quite the journey, hey? Quite the journey. So we have one more speaker to get to, then we're going to eat. Gregory Banquet Trudeau. You guys know who he is?
Hi, first of all, thank you for having me. Just like most of you, a local hockey player, played about my first 3 years of hockey here. Obviously, we won, I think, all 3 years. Just growing up, you know, it's fun. Go as far as you can. I just play junior now. I'm still young, but hockey's a journey for sure. Play with a lot of my best friends, right? A lot of my best friends are from here, so obviously like to thank them. They helped who I am today. Everyone in here obviously supports my mom a lot, which thank you very much. I don't know what to say. It's crazy. But thank you all. Thank you.
Can we give another round of applause for 2017-2018 Bantam A champions? I think so.
Congratulate everyone for sitting still for 2 hours. It's not even bingo. Everyone stay up. Congratulations. No, but